The Concerns of Free-Range Pasture-Raised. This will be the against side by Rachel Lansdale,
Alejandra Vargas,
Mia Martinez, Renee Chapo. Table of contents will be going over a plethora of different topics for free-range/pasture-raised, where we read history, ethical concerns, hazards of free-range, egg safety, ethical frameworks, infectious diseases, cultural and sociological importance, current events. What is free range? In order for a farm to claim that their animals are free range, the animal must have access to the outside, although there's no specification on how long they must spend outside and the amount of space that should be provided. The USDA only regulates this regulation for poultry, chicken, and for other free-range food animals is regulated through third-party certification. What is pasture-raised? Pasture-raised is when animals are raised on open, grassy, natural lands. This can be beneficial to the animals because they are able to live in their natural environment and be in a fresh, open space. Although some downfalls to being in an open, non-protected area is that they can become prey. History of free-range pasture-raised food animals. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the shift to industrialization and urbanization changed farming practices to more enclosed animal confinement. Before this time era, most food animals were raised on pastures and where there was much more open land readily available. Animals began to be raised closer to cities and in more confined places. Medical advances such as antibiotics made it to where animals could be kept indoors year-round. The end goal would be mass production, not necessarily animal welfare.
ethical frameworks in animal use. Ethical considerations of animal use involve balancing competing values. Research shows free range systems improve welfare but may expose animals to environmental contaminations like heavy metals in suburban areas. These ethical tensions require us to consider which risk we prioritize when making production choices. When we examine animal use from an ethical standpoint, we're really looking at several competing frameworks. These animal rights perspectives argue that animals have inherited value beyond their usefulness to humans. They deserve consideration simply because they can suffer. This differs fundamentally from the animal welfare view, which accepts using animals but emphasizes minimalizing suffering. The 2025 study we looked at from Indonesia highlights this tension perfectly. Free-range systems allows chickens and ducks to express natural behaviors which satisfies welfare concerns, but the same animals showed higher levels of lead in their livers compared to confined broilers. This creates an ethical dilemma. Is it better to restrict movement but protect from contamination, or allow natural behavior with potential health risks? Environmental ethics broadens our view to illogical impacts. The research on heavy metal accumulation demonstrates that our production systems don't exist in isolation. Suburban backyard can accumulate environmental contaminations from improperly managed household waste. We must consider not just how we treat animals, but how our environmental practices affect them. Ethical concerns, resources, and accessibility. Production efficiency, slower growth rates, 77 days, tend to reach 1.6 to 1.k kilograms versus 42 days for broilers. higher fed conversion ratio 2.79 to 3.01 versus 2.0 for broilers, may not meet global protein demand efficiently, social justice considerations, premium purchasing limits access to higher welfare products, may exclude disadvantaged populations from ethical choices, potential global food security implicates, animal welfare improvements versus human equality concerns.
Animals are more prone to injuries. Free-range chickens are more susceptible to predators like hawks, foxes, raccoons, and dogs, especially if the range area isn't well secured. In larger, more dynamic social groups, chickens may engage in more aggressive behavior like pecking, especially if there's competition for food, space, and dominance trying to be established. Environmental hazards can be that they are sharp as objects lying around, uneven ground which can cause suffocation. Hazards of free range. Free range is bad for animals' overall health because animals that are allowed outdoors are subjected to more diseases by other animals that they might come across or diseases that can be lying around in the dirt or in any area that they are in. And by being outdoors, they are more likely to get injured by predators and flock mates. Lastly, for example, hens and chickens can be subjected to chemical contamination. Infectious diseases. Erysipelas has been a turkey disease problem and is now observed more in laying flocks. This disease is caused by the soil-borne bacterium. This is a systematic infection in poultry leading, in many cases, this can cause death to the chickens and decreases their egg production. This disease in particular is known to be in outdoor flocks. Another disease that can be found in these animals is called coleopulsis, a systematic disease produced by the bacterium. This causes significant loss to the poultry industry worldwide. This disease also exerts its most serious effects in layer flocks when they are in peak lay, and infections can result in significant loss for these animals. Egg safety, chemical contamination. PCDs, PCDFs, and PCBs are natural man-made chemicals toxic to humans and other animal species. They are considered one of the most toxic substances in the human food chain. Human exposure to these compounds result in a wide range of health problems including cancer, immune deficiencies, reproductive and developmental abnormalities, etc. These chemicals can be found both indoors and outdoors. Hens consuming these chemicals can lead to passing them onto their eggs and is not only toxic to these animals but also to us humans. Cultural and sociological importance. In traditional agriculture communities, free-range methods are frequently essential to cultural identity and heritage. These practices encompass not only animal husbandry but also the preservation of ties to traditional farming methods and local ecosystems. The cultural significance of free-range hens is deeply rooted in traditional farming practices across various regions. In numerous rural communities, especially in Africa and Asia, free-range indigenous chickens are essential to cultural and religious traditions. These animals often serve as representations of purity, prosperity, and respect in festivals and ceremonies, as well as offerings in spiritual rituals. These chickens ensure income and food security, especially for women and children who oversee their management in the household economy. Their productivity may not match that of commercial breeds, but their resilience and adaptivity made them invaluable in rural livelihoods.
Current events concern about free range. One of the concerns surrounding free range farming is the potential for misleading labels. While animals in free range systems are given more space, they might not have the access to truly open pastures as consumers often expect. ABC News talks about how some farms may only provide a small outdoor space that doesn't allow animals to roam freely. And this can lead to greenwashing, where the labels give a false impression of humane practices. And additionally, free range farming can still face issues related to disease transmission due to overcrowding in certain areas, as animals might gather in limited spaces outdoors. These issues highlight the importance of understanding the true meaning behind labeling and regulations for free range farming. Current events concerns about pasture-raised. Pasture-raised farming, while beneficial for animal welfare and the environment, it comes with its own set of challenges. One of the main concerns is that pasture-raised systems require a large amount of land, which can limit their scalability, especially in densely populated areas. The cost of land and maintenance can be significantly higher than the conventional farming, making it difficult for small farmers to sustain their operations without essential financial support. Additionally, pasture-raised farms can face challenges related to extreme weather conditions such as drought or flooding, which can impact pasture quality and animal health. These factors complicate the widespread adoption of pasture-raised farming practices. Summary. Chapter 6 made it clear that how we use animals reflects our values. While free-range and pasture-raised methods are a step towards more ethical animal treatment, we still have to be careful about how they practice and label. Some systems might look good on paper but still fail to truly meet animals' needs. We think raising animals for food is acceptable when done with respect and awareness. We should make sure our choices like buying pasture-raised eggs or meat support farmers who treat animals well and protect the land. That is how we honor both traditional and progress.
Thank you for listening to our informational video about free range and pasture raised. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a few new things about, the differences between about how things are produced for food animals. Information and facts. And information that was included into our video. As you can see, we went over history, livestock, humane farm animal care, the history of animals in society, science, and revisiting of hen welfare and egg safety. And lastly, we also delved into the topic of free range farming, always what it seems, and challenges in scaling pasture-based livestock farming. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this video just as much as we did making it. Thank you. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you.